We are now going to talk about the large intestine. And I am referring back to this picture just so you can see where we've been. Oral cavity, esophagus, talked about the stomach. We talked about the small intestine, specifically about the duodenum and how the liver and the pancreas produce those digestive juices so that the duodenum can finish up digesting any food left from the digestion that took place in the stomach. Then we had the absorption happening in the jejunum and the ileum. And now we're going to talk about the large intestine. Remember, the small intestine ends at the ileocecal valve, so the large intestine must start there. The large intestine is also referred to as the colon. So, functions of the colon. These are the big four. Water is removed. Bacteria is added. When you add bacteria and remove water from chyme, it is now referred to as feces. So feces are consisting of water, inorganic salts, epithelial cells that have been scraped away from the small and large intestine. Then you have bacteria and products of bacterial decomposition. So you have those little microorganisms that are dying and decomposing inside of you. And then undigestible parts of food. This is often called fiber. Fiber is an indigestible substance that produces food waste. So the first section of the large intestine is the cecum. And if you look here, I don't love this picture because the cecum should actually be up here. It should actually extend up here to where the ileum is coming in and attaching to the large intestine. So it should be like this little bottom edge here. This is the cecum. And it is the first part of the large intestine. So you're going to see a lot of water and vitamins being absorbed here. The appendix. The appendix is a vestigial structure. It's a leave-over from when our digestive system was longer. So when our colon was longer. It is now a reduced section of the colon, and we used to think that it had no function at all and could be removed willy-nilly. Now what we come to understand is it actually has a really vital purpose. It acts as kind of like a bacterial flash drive. So it's kind of our backup. So if you get a really horrible gastrointestinal infection that causes horrible diarrhea that just flushes out your entire colon, what happens is your appendix has all of the little bacteria that live all throughout your colon. It has little micro colonies of each of those, and they can repopulate your colon if you have really horrible diarrhea that wipes out your bacterial fauna. So that is a really important function, this flora maintenance. The ascending colon. Please remember that it's called ascending because once food enters here at the ileocecal valve, it's going to have to move up. So that is why it's called the ascending colon. You see same functions, water absorption, vitamin absorption here. Transverse colon, same functions as the overall colon. It's called the transverse because it's traversing, crossing the body. Then you have the descending colon. The food is going to have, or the feces is going to have to descend in order to get out. The sigmoid colon, which is this little hook at the bottom of the descending colon. Then you have the rectum, which is the kind of holding chamber before we have the anus, which is right down here. The anus consists of two sphincters. One is involuntary. It's part of your digestive system. You have no control over when that one opens and closes. The other one, that's the external anal sphincter, is skeletal muscle and is completely voluntary. This is why you can hold in feces. You don't have to poop anytime feces enters the rectum. Now, diarrhea versus constipation. Diarrhea is when your fecal matter has not had enough water removed. Constipation is when too much water has been removed. Diarrhea, the fecal matter is really soupy. Constipation, on the other hand, it's really thick and hard and brittle. And the reason that this is important is because the muscles that line your colon help push the feces along. And the consistency you want is kind of like toothpaste. You want it to be a solid, but you want it to be soft enough that it can be smushed and pushed. Now, colorectal cancer. Colon cancer, which is another name for colorectal cancer, is the third most dangerous cancer in men and the second most dangerous cancer in women. And it has nothing to do with treatability. Colon cancer, especially in early stages, is very treatable. And the reason for that is what colorectal cancer is basically kind of like a skin cancer on the inside of your colon. It's just overproducing epithelial cells. And these form polyps, like you see here and in here, and those can be removed. They just are cut off. They're lasered off. Now, you do have a blood supply feeding these polyps, but you can cauterize that. So it's a very treatable cancer. And the reason it is so dangerous is because people don't enjoy getting colonoscopies, so they don't find out they have it until it's very far progressed. So making sure you have your colonoscopies when you are scheduled to have them is really important. It is vitally important for survival when it comes to colorectal cancer. And that is the last of the notes over the alimentary canal. We don't have anything else to cover except digestive disorders. And then I'm going to touch on the urinary tract or the urinary system with what we have left.